Today's episode of Nerdist News is brought to you by Cartoon Network's Stop Bullying, Speak Up initiative. Will Spider-Man 3 adapt this controversial storyline? Spider-Man does whatever a spider can, which seems to mean lately not starring in his own film without the shadow of an arrogant goateed mentor looming large over him. Recently, The Hollywood Reporter reported that Benedict Cumberbatch will join Tom Holland in the still untitled Spider-Man 3 as Marvel's resident Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. Now, as we discussed in depth on this week's Nerdist News Talks Back, this is going to be a very different dynamic than Peter Parker had with Tony Stark, especially given their previous encounter in Avengers Infinity War.
What is he, your ward?
No. I'm Peter, by the way.
But more importantly, this news set off a frenzy of speculation about what exactly Doctor Strange's appearance in the Spider-Man threequel could mean for this movie. Now, the most popular theory, and the one that immediately came to mind for us as well, is that this could be an adaptation of one of Marvel's most controversial Spider-Man storylines in recent memory. I'm talking about 2007's One More Day. Now, if we're right about this, that could be considered a spoiler, so if you're worried about that kind of thing, why not make like one of Peter Parker's old movies that he loves to talk about and abandon ship? Okay, now that all these spoiler phobes are off in one of the other 14,605 futures, let's get into it, shall we? For those who don't know, One More Day is a 4-part storyline written by J. Michael Straczynski and Joe Quesada, in which Peter Parker must grapple with the violent aftermath of revealing his secret identity during the Civil War crossover event. So what happened is Aunt May is fatally wounded by a gunshot, and Peter Parker must try to do anything and everything in his power to save her, and ultimately he makes a deal with the demon Mephisto, who promises to save Aunt May's life in exchange for erasing Peter's marriage to Mary Jane from existence. Now, Mephisto also wipes the world's collective memory that Spider-Man is actually Peter Parker, and it's a big old retcon that effectively hits the reset button on Peter's life and angered a bunch of fans in the process. So why would Marvel want to turn one of its most controversial stories involving dead relatives, demons, and heartbreak into a movie starring one of its most affable young stars who already broke our hearts in Infinity War? Well, that's because this time they might be able to give it the narrative heft that it deserves and use it to bridge the reality-bending weirdness of WandaVision to whatever magical mayhem comes our way in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now remember, Peter Parker no longer has a secret identity. At the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, Mysterio gives Peter a parting gift from beyond the grave in the form of a doctored video designed to make it look like he murdered Quentin Beck. Now, not only did that video burn Peter's secret identity, but it was delivered by an InfoWars-esque version of J. Jonah Jameson as played by J.K. Simmons. With that in mind, Peter's clearly going to be looking over his shoulder in Sanctum Sanctorum, or whatever they're going to call this third movie. His loved ones like Aunt May and MJ are going to be in very real danger from the likes of Jamie Foxx's new Electro and whatever disgruntled supervillains also have a bone to pick with Spider-Man. Now, this is where Doctor Strange comes in. With nowhere to go and no Tony Stark to get him out of this mess, Peter's going to need some serious allies against the baddies coming out of the woodwork to turn him into a fine red mist. Where can Peter find sanctuary in a city full of danger lurking around every corner and, as some are speculating, a Sinister Six out to get him? Well, the answer is the Sanctum Sanctorum. Now, Doctor Strange doesn't need or want a student. He won't be much of a mentor to Peter in this film, so much as a reluctant ally who will help him fight back against those who would seek to do him harm. But Peter's proximity to Doctor Strange in this movie could have dire consequences as well. While IGN suggests that Doctor Strange might be the one to ultimately retcon reality for Peter and help rectify his identity crisis with his supreme sorcery, I think that things are going to be a little bit different and a whole lot darker, and that's a direct result of whatever's going to happen in WandaVision. As we've mentioned previously, Mephisto isn't just a key part of the One More Day storyline. We think he's going to be the true mastermind behind the chaos of WandaVision. After all, Faustian bargains like getting to have your dead android lover come back to life from beyond the pale to live an idyllic sitcom-style existence with brutal hidden costs, that's pretty much Mephisto's bread and butter. Dude loves that kind of thing. If you want to know more about how Mephisto might be wreaking havoc in WandaVision, well, I have an episode of Explainiac for you. I'll put it in the description below. Now, whatever ultimately winds up happening in WandaVision, I think it'll give Mephisto unbridled access to our plane of existence and do seemingly irreversible damage to the fabric of the multiverse, which was already stretched pretty thin by all the time-traveling chaos of Avengers Endgame. So the question then becomes, what is an offer that Peter Parker couldn't refuse? Well, clearly it's going to revolve around undoing whatever happened as a result of the doctored video that was aired by J. Jonah Jameson. Now, perhaps as a consequence of that video, Aunt May or MJ or Ned or someone near and dear to Peter is put in mortal peril, and Peter will be desperate for a solution. While I can't imagine Doctor Strange messing around with reality any more than he's already done in the past, what I can picture is Peter Parker stumbling across some sort of object or grimoire or scroll or occult thingamajig in the Sanctum Sanctorum that he most definitely should not be touching. He's a curious guy. Now, that cursed object will give Mephisto a direct line to Peter, whereupon the devious demon will offer to fix all of Peter's problems for a price. But in making this deal with the devil, Peter will inadvertently cause even more damage to the fabric of the multiverse as we know it, which is far beyond the scope of doing whatever a spider can to fix it. That will in turn tee up Doctor Strange to try and bless this mess that Peter, Wanda, and Mephisto have made of not just their reality, but potentially all realities in the process in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And this time, no amount of scrubbing through the 14,605 YouTube videos of what may come is going to get him out of this mess. Or maybe it will. Who knows? Only time will tell. Thank you again to Cartoon Network for sponsoring today's show. Cartoon Network's Stop Bullying, Speak Up, in partnership with Pacers National Bullying Prevention Center, launched the Include Someone, Make a Difference campaign to inspire kids across the nation to make a difference by including others. By making sure everyone feels welcomed, valued, and supported, you can help make your community a better place and even make a new friend or two in the process. Want to make a difference in your classroom or community? Head to the link at the bottom of the screen and in the description below to find free resources and materials for kids, educators, and parents who want to stop bullying and speak up. In the meantime, though, tell me, what do you think of this theory? What do you hope to see happen in Spider-Man 3? And what do you think the subtitle of this movie will be? Let's discuss in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, make sure you stay tuned to Nerdist.com.